Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Sister Station podcast with your host, me, Mu'mina Koleosho, a Nigerian, Yoruba, Muslim, multi award winning writer, journalist, content creator, and youth advocate based in Scotland, who uses storytelling to amplify the voices of Black and Muslim women. For today's episode, I'm joined by my friend Salamat Yusuf. Salamat is an award-winning multidisciplinary designer based in London, focuses on neurological and sustainable design. Her talents transcend beyond the field of design as she's also a writer and architecture enthusiast. We explore Salamat's journey as a design entrepreneur and discuss how faith, culture, and community have helped her navigate the challenges of a creative career. We also share our writing origin stories and compare how our families have reacted to our writing pursuits. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Sal, would you like to introduce yourself, tell us what your name means, a bit about your background, career-wise, all that good stuff?
Okay, so hi guys, I'm Sal, Salamat. Wait, my name is Salamat, Sal for short. I'm a sustainable slash luxury interior designer. My name means peace, but initially I was named after my grandma called Salah too, but she is Salah first, if that makes sense. I'm Salamat Jr. So she was named by her from my grandma from Ghana. So that's why I find it personable to me to be called Peacefully Sal as my Instagram name, if that makes more sense. Yeah. So initially, I was born in Lagos, Nigeria. I have lived in the UK, specifically London, for more than 19 years. I grew up with my grandma Halima for most of my life, and my dad and mum has always been present in my life, especially growing up. I initially wanted to be like my dad, who studied economics, but due to my interest and passion in the arts and craft, I settled for architecture and design, which is why I am known as being a sustainable luxury interior designer.
So
Yeah,
wait,
that's
how
my
old are you now?
so I'm currently 27, about to be 28. So I came here around the age of 7 to 6 or 7 because I wasn't too sure.
Oh, that's cute. And I
Yeah.
ask as well because I didn't realize this whole time that you were older than me. I think because so for context, basically Sal and I met at this writing poetry workshop that was hosted by Black Girls Write Too. And funnily enough, I think this is probably the second episode I've mentioned Black Girls Write Too. I think that I'm gonna be mentioning them for a good few episodes because there are a couple of people that will be featuring on this podcast that I met through them or that we went to like one of their events together and stuff. But yeah, so I guess when I meet people in those settings, I don't know why, but I just end up assuming that the person is not necessarily my age exactly, but around about. And I guess also because we are in a similar stage of life, like post uni, working, etc.
But to be honest with the age thing, I have like a few how do I say this? Like neighbors who said the same thing. Like they funny story, they actually called me auntie like a few months ago, which is actually hilarious. And my cousin says the same thing too. But I hate being called an auntie. I prefer being called Sal or something like that. Thank you very much.
It's okay. We'll go with Sister Sal. I think that
Yeah,
sounds cute.
yeah.
I like the
Thank you.
alliteration. Did you study architecture, design? Like, what was your degree and where did you go?
So initially, I wanted to study architecture at the age of 18 to
Hmm.
17,
Hmm.
but due to my limited constraint and because of my passion for combining design and business together, I felt like it was more personable to me to do the field of interior design because of my dad's interest of me starting my own business. We both realized that it would take a longer time for me to do architecture if I wanted to start a business and open my own practice. So we decided that it would be best for me to do interior design so that I'm able to gain more experience and learn on as we go as I create my own business as a sole trader, which is really good too.
That's really cool. And honestly, I
That's
just thought it
nice.
was interesting what you said about architecture because most of the people I know that did study architecture just
Mhm.
did the undergrad and then maybe sort of pivoted into another field or like a not like
Yeah.
completely different, but maybe like a similar area of some kind of design or something else.
Mhm.
Because literally, like you said, like the pathway to actually qualifying as an architect is really long. Like you have to do all the extra work experience and then still do a master's and then do exams, etc. Because a bit like what I said on the episode with my friend Awela, the pharmacist, I was like, there's a reason why I did not do medicine. I didn't want to be I didn't want to be studying forever. It's the same reason why I couldn't do architecture. So
Yeah.
honestly, I really admire anyone that sticks it through. And yeah, I also really think it's cool how you already sort of thought ahead about not going down that route with your dad and taking a different path that would help you in setting up your own business and stuff. So whilst
Yeah.
we're on that topic, like, can you talk a bit about how that journey and experience has been so far, challenges, highlights, etc., that kind of jazz?
Okay, so thank you for the compliment. With my experience and how I got into the field of interior design, it was initially inspired by my love and interest for the arts and crafts and wanting to find a niche specifically in the field of design. As a person who is surrounded by neurotypical people, I found a solace within the field of interior design because I wanted to create a form of serenity for people who have limited conditions and aren't able to access certain aspect or are overstimulated by the fact that they are in a home that might be too overcrowded or too minimalist. It depends on the structure of the design and what the viewer wants to incorporate in the design style. So what I'd like to say is that my journey has been interesting because I've had a lot of miss and hit when it comes to design, specifically hits when it comes to the field of interior design, when it comes to commercial and residential spaces, because I collaborated with one of a member of my friend called Yessie, and we were working together to create a residential space for her home, for her bedroom, which was my first ever project that I did, and it was very I enjoyed that moment because it enabled me to adapt to the field of a professional interior design sector. And also my time in DRMM and architectural practice was lovely because they were really nice. They enabled me to understand the field of architecture, and they gave me a task that I was able to submit, which was like very surprising to me because at that time I was suffering with a lot of hardship. But thankfully for Allah, I am grateful for what He put me through, and I'm grateful that I'm in a journey where it's all about elevating now to success instead of being limited. So that was really fun. It was a really fun experience in my journey in the RMM. And another journey that I had as like an interior designer, which I'm currently working on. So I'm whilst in North London, I'm currently working in a project in that sector when it pertaining the interest of interior design. And it's a community-based um, design project that I'm doing, that I'm executing with a collaboration with a construction company called Muslim in Construction, which is really good too because they help to assist people who are struggling to find work in the sector of architecture, construction, and more. So it's been good. It's been challenging. It's been fun, but I love what I do, and I'm always excited to start every day.
Honestly, that sounds really cool. Can you tell me a bit more about your experience with Muslims in construction? And also, I saw that on your Instagram that you're going to be a panelist for a Black History Month event with, is it Sisters in Design they're called? So yeah, I'm curious about your experience with these different community groups and how that's impacted your journey as well, and yeah, your journey in the industry as well.
So with that, the MIC, the Muslim construction group that I joined, has been a joy because every time there's always a form of different panelists that they showcase that inspire me to be better in the field of construction and architecture. Specifically, when I was focusing on the career path of becoming an architect, this was like how long ago? Let's say a few months back, like let's say in January of this year. That's when I wanted to be an architect, but I realized that I already have a degree, and because of I have two degrees now. I have a BA in graphic communication and I have a graduate diploma in interior design. So because of that, for some jobs that I apply for, I'm considered as overqualified, but with that it brings me more strength and makes me realize that I need to focus more on my business, which is becoming a sole trader and inspiring people who are part of the Muslim Women in Design group, which is why I was one of the panelists because I found them through Instagram and they enjoyed everything that I stand for. And also, they inspired me to do well when it comes to being a Black woman in a design space, which is really good too. And with that, I also wanted to say that because I initially was a part of a product design group. I went into digital product design because of my interest in physical elements of an interior design space. And I want a product design aspect of an interior design space by incorporating IT into it. And this enabled me to join the design group, the Muslim Women in Design group, because of that. And I found joy within that community because they really, really pressured me to find my niche and find what it is that I wanted to do. Even though I focus on like the luxury sustainable aspect of an interior design space, while I was in that design group, it made me focus on the product design element of an interior design space, which was very interesting to see. So I loved everything about that. And hashtag thank you to Animalia for giving me my first job, because that was really, really such a fun experience when I did that as a product designer. That was mainly the reason why I went to the Muslim woman design group, which was fun. So yeah.
But yeah, no, that was really cool. And I think that the whole concept of being overqualified is a scam. Like, I can't believe you're literally out here, flexing 2 degrees, all your work experience. Like, you're so cool. And then you just come to this job application and they're telling you that, oh, sorry, you're overqualified. It's
Yeah.
so ridiculous, because I'm like, then what was the point of me getting all of these qualifications if you're going to say that I can't do the job because I'm too much? Isn't that what you want? You know?
It's like, initially, don't they want a person that is dedicated to their craft, that wants to, that is passionate about what they do? That's what I wanted to say. I'm agreeing with you, basically.
What would you say is your favorite thing about the work that you do as a designer?
So, what do I enjoy most about the work is that I love meeting and connecting with people, because it allows me to gain insight and an understanding on how they work and how they view the world. Also, I love to sketch. Like, sketching brings me so much peace and joy regarding the field of design or anything as well. Like, if it's anything to do with fine art, product design, interior design, just holler at me, because I'm literally an adaptable person when it comes to sketching. Like, sketching makes a huge difference to the field of design, and that's what brings me joy when it comes to explaining and dissecting the aspect of design, specifically when it comes to floor plan, section, elevation. Sketching is key for that, because you'll be able to assist or make alteration to any adjustment within the floor plan, which is why I say to people, if you are passionate about what you do, just focus on sketching, especially if you want to get into the field of design and art. Just focus on sketching and make sure you're passionate about it. And yeah, alhamdulillah for God that we serve, for blessing me with a gift that I can influence the world in a great way. Because of that, I'm so grateful. So yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds pretty cool. And you strike
Mm-hmm.
me as a very creative person. And I mean, if we literally go back to how we met, we have a shared interest in writing and the written word and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm curious, in terms of your creative process, how much would you say your faith and your culture impact or influence your creativity? Either in design, writing, or both.
So, how does my faith and culture influence my creativity? So, with that, I was going to say my faith and my culture, I always learn how to put God first in anything that I do, because I realize that ultimately, with that it would be an impossible challenge to be focusing, like, it will be a daunting challenge not to put God first. And also, I was gonna say that because of that, I realized that it brought me joy to be the fact that I'm a Muslim, and the fact that it's a diverse community with diverse individuals, which is a form of unity. So yes, like I said, I'm very grateful for always putting God first within my field of design and everything that I do as well. Because initially, 4 to 5 years ago, which brings a topic of the hijab and stuff. As you can see, like in my Instagram, sometimes I wear the hijab, sometimes I don't, and it's due to the fact that it's like an ever going journey and process when it comes to the field of Islam. But what I specifically wanted to talk about is that I'm intrigued by the teaching of Islam as time goes by, because I had an epiphany and of the greatness and beauty within Islam, and I realized within that structure, and because of what I learned, I realized that I wanted to focus more and use that as a way to incorporate Islam into my design style. And that's why I realized that within the how diverse Islam is and the community aspect of it within a variety of sexes as well, and the teaching of it is what inspired my book to be more about the teachings of the Prophet and how we could incorporate into our daily lives. And with that, I also wanted to say that I've been working on my religious aspect for like 3 to 4 years, and I rushed it as as time going by, well, I rushed my book. The first book that I ever did, which I can't say the name for because I'm so embarrassed by it. I rushed it within. I tried to complete it
I'm
within.
curious. I know you said that you're
Don't
embarrassed, but
don't read that
I'd
one.
like
Don't
to
read
know.
that one.
I'd like
Do
to
not
know the
read that one.
title, please.
Don't read that one. That one is so bad. Like
It's
I
not
rushed
like it's not like I could go and Google it and read it. Like,
that.
can we just know for the record?
No, 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 let me tell him. Let me tell him. Because if you ask him, what did Salah write for her? Salamat, what did she write for her first book? How do you feel about it? He said she wrote jargon. She wrote nonsense. I'm like, what was you thinking? What was you doing? That's what he said. Like he was like, you could do better, and I think you should take your time when you're writing a book. That's what he said. And I was like, you know what? For the next one, I'm going to try to take my time, and that's why I've been writing this current one for like 3 to 4 years now, which has been a very 3 to 4 years now, which has been a good experience as well. Because it made me realize that I'm a good writer because it takes me like 2 hours to complete a chapter which incorporates like 7 pages in an A4 sheet. So it's not that bad.
Does this new book that you're working on have a title? Is can you give us any
I'm
teasers,
not
any
saying
hints?
him.
You know, just a little sneak peek.
I'm not saying damn thing because let me keep it. I'll probably text it to you after this, but I'm not
Okay,
gonna say it.
fair. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
It's top secret,
top secret.
redacted, super
Am I
classified information.
M6, M9, MI
Level
16?
level 6, 7 clearance only. Avengers level, right?
Facts, no friend.
Honestly, fair enough, because I can also be quite, I'd say, guarded about my writing as well. Because when people ask me, like, oh, what are you working on? Or like, what's your book about? And sometimes I'll tell people, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'll purposefully tell people about one that I'm not working on because I'm
Yeah,
like, the one that I am working on, I need to keep that one under wrap, So I keep the people guessing, or I give them very surface level stuff. I'm like, okay, this one is going to be a psychological thriller. It could be anything, but if I just give you if I just give you like a loose genre, at least that's a bit of a teaser.
just
So
a
yeah.
teaser.
And then I think it can also sometimes be misleading because I don't know, purposefully slash unpurposefully, I tend
Mhm.
not to write in a very specific genre sometimes. Like sometimes I can, be writing something that is full of all the typical tropes and cliches. But other times, like I feel like, for example, if I say, I'm trying to think of a good sort of cliche example, but if I say that I'm writing a oh man, why can't I think of something? Okay, if I say
A
that I'm
romantic
writing
thriller.
like a dramatic historical
Whoa,
comedy or
whoa,
something, right? That
whoa.
that that doesn't sound very tropey, does it? Okay, no, let me give a different example. Let's say if I say I'm writing a contemporary coming of age YA novel, or if I say I'm writing like a romantasy or something, people are
Okay.
gonna have like exactly two books in their head, or like one story, or like a set of characters. They're gonna think like, oh, it's probably something like this, or something like insert a specific author has written this
Come on,
that,
Harry
other
Potter.
thing. But
I'm like,
potentially, right?
yeah,
Whereas
yeah, yeah.
what I have in mind is something completely different that just so happens to have elements of this genre and that genre. But I'm
Mhm.
like, this idea feels very unique to me. So I don't want to
Yeah.
start spreading
Yeah.
thoughts, spreading the creativity before somebody picks it up and decides to run away with it. We have to keep these things close to the chest. I was also gonna say, since we're on the topic of writing, I'm just a bit curious, how long have you been writing for? When did you start? Like, did it all start with that first novel that shall not be named? Or had you been writing before that? And
Oh,
yeah, tell us more.
no, maybe I started when I was 5. I'm joking. I started when I was what age? I started when I was 17. Like started taking writing seriously when I was 17 to 16. This is when I had to go back to university to take my education seriously because when I was doing my GCSE, I was playing with life. I wasn't revising for nothing. I literally said, I'm taking a break from all of this because you people are stressing me out. So I decided to take writing seriously after I spoke with like a great teacher of mine. I think her name was Miss A. She was like, I really love your writing style. You should do something similar to this. You should like do writing in the future if you have that of interest. And I was like, I can't at this moment because I feel like it was too much. Basically, what happened was I started journaling my life and I started writing poetic stuff that was that I felt personable to me or personable towards stuff that I was hearing that people was complaining about, whether that be complexion or texture. I said texture, whether that be complexion or war. I decided to write about that. My first ever poetry slash written work that I am proud about was a book that I wrote in a journal that I have for 10 years, where I was talking about complexion and how like being dark shouldn't be viewed as a crime compared to being of a light complexion. And because of that, I said, yeah, I'm gonna continue writing this because I read this like what 3 years ago, and I said, yeah, let me start writing this book and prove to my dad that I got this in the bag, because every time he thinks that, you know, that I write jargon, when in reality I'm writing good work. That's why.
You're too funny for that. But honestly, like I can understand.
Do you know what's crazy? Like, I showed mine to my mom, like the draft that I did, and she was so impressed, and she was initially the inspiration for why I created what I did. Which is
Oh,
like
that's so
she
sweet.
was the inspiration for what it is I created what I did, because she started journaling everything that me and my sister did, like how we got into this. Now how she gave birth to us, and how I moved from Nigeria to the UK at the age of 6 or 7. And she wrote that in her journal. Everything that you can think about that a mother knows about her child, she wrote in her journal. And that's what
Oh,
inspired me to create my own journal, and wanted to incorporate that into this writing of mine. So yeah, it's been a joy.
that's so sweet.
My rider, I call her every time for every little problem that I have. Hello, mom. Like, you can ask anyone that I'm like next to in my neighborhood, like every little thing, especially when I'm hungry too and I haven't eaten. I'll call her. "Mom, what is it? Can I eat? Mom, what should I wear? Mom, what should I do?" Like every day, my dad gets jealous too. So yeah.
It's so funny, but honestly, I can't even laugh because I'm the same with my mom. Like, if you ask my brother, if you literally ask him, oh, how many times does Mukmina call mom like every day or week or something? He'll literally tell you that I call our mom multiple times a day. Like anytime that she's not working or I'm not working or like we're both on a break. And sometimes
Yeah.
we're not even talking, it's just nice because I can hear her like tinkering around in the background when the phone is on speakerphone and she can hear me typing away, and it's just nice because I know that she's there, and
That's so
it's
cute.
very comforting.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that.
It's very cute.
That's cute. I wanted to ask you a question as well,
Hmm.
if that's okay.
Oh yeah, no,
So
go for it.
what I wanted to ask you was, with your, this has nothing to do with like your relationship with your mom, because I find it very adorable that you're really cute and tight knit with your mom. But with like your inspiration, does she support the fact that you write, and how did she feel that you changed careers? Or what do you think? Because I had a glimpse of your LinkedIn profile.
So basically, it's been a journey for the whole family. And I think because before, when I used to talk about writing and sort of anything creative related, really, with my parents or my family in general, even my friends, and honestly, internally with myself, I used to think of it as a hobby, as a little sort of side project, and I just didn't really give it much importance. And so even consider not pursuing a when I started to consider not pursuing a career in the tech space and sort of software engineering, etc., I didn't really explicitly mention that that's because I want to be a writer instead and I want to work in a creative field. I think even then it was more a case of A, I don't want to be a software engineer, but then B, I think deep down I always wanted to be a writer, but I didn't think that was an option really that I could consider realistically. And so because I wasn't fully open about my sort of dream, so to speak, I think that was also why no one really considered that option for me, if that makes sense. So it took a while for even me to kind of get on board with the program, like with myself, and to decide actually I'm going to pursue this as a career. And but I think it was okay when that did happen because I'd kind of been warming everyone around me, including myself, up to the idea by just kind of dropping it, like quote unquote, as a hint like going along, if that makes sense. So I might mention like, oh, I've entered this competition, or I've submitted to this publication, or I'm working on this thing, or I joined this program, or I went to this open mic. So like I started sort of building up my my writing experience, and networking and going to all these different events and stuff. So it was very much on the radar that, hey, this is something that I'm interested in. So then when I turned around and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do full time. I think it was less of a shock of like coming out from left field for my family and for my parents. And at first, there was some concern in the sense that how would I make this into a lucrative career and everything? How will I find stability, etc. But at the same time, my parents recognized that they didn't want me to be unhappy just picking any old career just for the sake of money and stuff. They wanted me to feel fulfilled and everything, but they do try and emphasize sort of being practical and like me striking the balance between, yes, pursuing my creativity and pursuing my passions, but also most importantly doing something that's meaningful and purposeful, especially within the Deen, doing something that will be beneficial in this life and in the next, but then also after that how it will benefit you in this world. Sometimes we do have to consider the sort of practicalities of pay and etc., all these sorts of things. So that was a very long-winded way of saying that they never outright discouraged me and said that they wouldn't approve or this wasn't something that they wanted me to do, but it was more of a like ongoing negotiation. And if anything, my parents, they're my number one supporters. Like sometimes even my mom or my dad would be asking me like, oh, what's that your Instagram called again? Or send me the link to your post. And I'll be wondering like, why they're asking me. And they'll say that, because I want to send it to so and so person, or like you need to send us the post so that we can like it and repost it. And yeah, it's sweet. It's really nice, and it's very what's the word? It instills a lot of confidence knowing that parents, they're in my corner, my family, they're all backing me. Like it was so funny when everybody started asking me to send my Instagram and follow me on Instagram. Like I have a bunch of my aunts and uncles following me on like LinkedIn and Instagram, and sometimes I'm just like, it feels awkward that my entire family on my social media, but it's love.
No, like I love it so much. The fact that your family is following you on social media, and the fact that you were passionate about being creative individual, the fact that you diverted your career from IT into writing is very, very, very brave of you to do that, because I know that there's a lot of people who want to do that but can't do that because of toxic household and all that type of stuff. So it's good to see that your family's supporting you in every way.
Thank you. Would you say that your writing is connected to your design work, or do you feel like they're very different? And I ask because I would say there's like a sort of I was gonna say a stream of consciousness, but like a thread that connects like all of the creative stuff that I do. So whether I'm writing poetry or I'm writing stories or articles, or even just me sort of spieling away on the podcast, like
Yeah.
there is a general connection in kind of everything. So I'm
Mhm.
curious to know if it's the same for you in your creative practice, or would you say that that's like you're channeling two different energies or parts of yourself in your design work versus writing?
Okay. So with the question, I was gonna say, yeah, so I feel like with writing, it's been a good journey because it was inspired by the teaching of the Quran and the prophets. So writing felt like a joy, whereas design felt like a structural joy, because I had to plan a daily task that I had to complete, whereas with writing it felt like a form of relief because there was no limit to my creativity, and I could write for hours, for ages, persistently as well, for a long period of time. And it felt like I wasn't being judged, if that makes more sense. Whereas with design, I would be judged for the task that I had to do, if that made more sense. So,
That makes sense.
yeah.
And on the note of sort of friendship and community, how would you say that like how important would you say that is, or no, how important would you say that has been in your creative journey and just in general?
So, like with the community, it's been very nice. Establishing unity as a part of the teaching of Islam, but
Mhm,
I remember when we spent a time together in the group of Black Girls Right Too,
mhm,
and we made a connection, and I think we bonded over a topic that we were doing, the poetry cutout collage that we were doing, which was really fun.
mhm.
And with that, it made me realize that that was what sisterhood and a community aspect felt like compared to when I was young, when a group of girls tried to humble me or to boost their ego because of unforeseen circumstances and because of, boy problems and all that type of stuff. So it made me realize that having a sisterhood, a genuine, good sisterhood, is very important compared to a person that views you as an enemy or as competition, if that makes more sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because I realize with sisterhood, it plays a crucial role on how you project yourself and how you view yourself, especially if you're with those current sisters on a daily basis. Like it could affect your limited thinking or your critical thinking as well, which is really good too. Or bad, depending on the person that you're with.
We are now coming to the end of today's episode. I just have a couple of questions to kind of wind down as we come to the end. And
Yeah.
I'd say my first sort of closing question is, can you recommend a book that you're reading at the moment or one that you read recently that is like kind of stuck with you?
A book that I'm reading at the moment is the current book that I got literally with a friend of mine when we went to Greenwich Park last week or 2 weeks ago. It's called Intermezzo. Have you heard of it?
Yep.
Because so far I love the writing. What do you think of it? Have you read it? Have you seen the review? What do you think of it like so far?
I mean, I haven't read it. I just can't not know it because the promo was everywhere. Like,
That's really good because I was gonna say it's similar to my style of writing as well, except mine is more poetic because that's what everyone tells me that my writing style is similar to. So it makes more sense. Whereas hers is more distinct, like it's more descriptive. Mine is more descriptive, but it has like some poetic elements into it. So that's why I felt like I could connect to that book Intermezzo by I forgot the name of the person.
Sally Rooney.
Also, I was going to discuss about the fact that I saw a video of her talking about the issues within Palestine, and I think she donated the majority of her royalties into the people of Palestine, which was really nice to see as a person of like Muslim heritage, which has been a joy to see many writers, designers, architects, musicians, actors just supporting the people of Palestine.
My final question for you.
Mhm.
What is one piece of advice that you would give to a sister who is exploring her creativity, whether it's in design, writing, or elsewhere?
Um, so I'll say, don't let your passion limit your critical thinking. Combine both. Be explorative within a sector of design or research of interest that you're passionate about, and incorporate that into the field of design, whether that be sketching, drawing, or a topic, whether that be architectural subjects such as like material sampling, engineering, or astronomy. It's all up to you at the end of the day. So don't limit your stance. It could be 99 no's, but it doesn't equate to one yes. So stay persistent in your skill. And yes, that yes solidifies your dedication for your craft. So also make sure you sketch as much as you can and let loose. And yeah, peace.
We love to see it. And
Mhm.
on that note, that brings us to the end of the episode. So, before we head off, I'm just going to signpost everybody to check out Sal on Instagram. You can find her at peacefully Sal a underscore at the end. I
Right.
will put a link to her socials in the description. Sal, any other places we can find you that you want to shout out?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, mainly on YouTube as well.
Honestly, I didn't even realize that you had these many social accounts. So, but yeah, that is us signing off today.
Mhm.
And yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Sal, for joining me
Mhm.
today and for recording this episode with me. And
You're
yeah, thank you for all the insights you shared and for sharing your story. And
welcome.
that's all. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and
Mhm.
goodbye. And that is a wrap for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to follow, like, share, download, subscribe, and rate the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your preferred streaming platform. And you can also find us on LinkedIn and Instagram at Sister Station Podcast. And you can also find me, your host, Mutmana, on LinkedIn and Instagram at Mina's Musings. And finally, thanks again for tuning into this episode. I hope that you come back for more. But until then, Assalamu alaikum and bye.